Back in the early ages of when small islands formed spontaneously from the primordial chaos, only to be rendered unrecognizable moments later by the constant ebb and flow of imagination, the ancient Glitchian tribes suffered under constant threats to their very survival. There was the instability of the environment, the paucity of piggies, not to mention going to sleep every night without knowing what shapes or substances their meager huts would be when they awoke. But by far the most dangerous and terrifying of these was the Rook. The Rook, enemy of imagination, visited its wrath upon whatever the giants' minds created. It was the very manifestation of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. It pecked and clawed relentlessly at the periphery of the giant's domain, black winter to the giant's spring of creativity. It was, if I can say so myself, most awful. Noticing the capability of a particularly strong, focused, and concentrated burst of imagination to temporarily stun the Rook, ascetics and yogis of the Meadow tribe set to work to develop a more reliable method of harnessing this defensive action. Employing the recent technological breakthrough of spun crystal focusing orbs, they learned to draw the small imaginations of individual glitches together and blast the Rook into stillness, at least temporarily. They gave this discipline the name of martial imagination, and the image preserved in this display shows an elder glitch in early times leading imaginators to defend against a stream of Rook attacks. While the luster of this ancient focusing orb has faded with the passing of generations, in ages long past, its flawless surface of spun crystal acted as a nexus for the imaginations of our Glitchian ancestors, and as a potent weapon against the Rook. Generations struggled to find a way to fight back against the Rook and end its destruction of creativity. No progress was made until the extraordinarily pious Esquibeth of Inari discovered that her will alone could turn a normal shrine into a weapon, harnessing the direct conduit to the minds of the giants to return fire instead of favor. The holofilm which follows demonstrates a pious primitive priming the shrine for an attack. Discovered half buried in a rock face at Ekerin Ruffs, it would be easy to overlook the coarse stonework of this ancient shrine as simply another natural feature. But while the crafts of ancient Glitchian tribespeople may have been rudimentary, they still excelled in their piety and devotion to the giants. This shrine would have played an integral role in the everyday ceremonies of village life. As ancient legends tell it, these battle plans were recovered from an abandoned nest after a series of courageous attacks repulsed the Rook entirely from the Isle of Euralia, though its true prominence has never been proven to the satisfaction of all skeptics. Most now believe it to be a genuine artifact. Indeed, the only such artifact ever to fall into Glitchian hands, and the only example of Rookish script ever seen.